This is true. You got to figure it out early, Craig. See, you got it. You know what the secret is.
I have a question. Do you work for Child Protection?
Yeah, I work for a state child welfare system in North Carolina.
How do you do that?
How do I do that?
Like mentally, I just couldn't deal with it. It's got to be so hard, but you're probably so used to it now.
Well, I think a lot of it is the public's perception of child protective services is really very different than the reality of the work. That's not to say that things aren't hard, because today, for example, we're dealing with a 3-year-old murder by his mom, and it's hard. It's really hard. And there are days I cry a lot. But honestly, the good of what we do outweighs so much of the bad stuff that it keeps you kind of grounded in why you do this work. And it's so parallel to what we do with Beachbody, like being connected to a bigger why for the work, and make that real hard stuff. And the other thing is that I'm at the state level, so all of our direct work with families is done at the county level. So we have 100 counties in North Carolina, and every county has its own Department of Social Services. So all that direct family work, where frontline workers are going into the homes and they're working with families and possibly removing children, that kind of work is all happening at a local level. So I'm sitting at a state level where we do more oversight of the work at the county level. So I
assume you started from the beginning, and I got to move rooms because he's yammering away. No, it's fine. I assume maybe you started from the beginning when you went into it. My mom was in victims assistance, and it's so difficult. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's tough. It is. There's no doubt about it. But like I said, there's a lot of good stuff, and most families are doing the very best that they can for their children. I truly believe that, and a lot of them don't have the right tools and the resources to do what they want to do. And so, it's funny because like tonight, all 3 of my kids were just whining and screaming and on my last nerve. And you get to this point where you're like, you just want to scream at the top of your lungs. You want to yell. You want to just react. And I have enough coping strategies and enough understanding about how that's not good for kids. But, every minute when that happens, I'm like, I could be that parent who just snaps and loses it and smacks a kid, or so you think about the people who don't have resources, who are doing this, like single parents who have no support, no resources, no money, they miss work, they're going to get fired. I mean, you've got so many things going on in families' lives that it just kind of puts it in perspective a little bit. So, yeah.
Wow. All right, we can have like a totally like other call probably for like an hour about what Kristen does for work, because it's so interesting. But I know we're short for time, so why don't we get started? We still have, like I said, other people joining.
Okay. But
let me make sure I'm recording. Okay, I am. So I just want to introduce Kristen O'Connor, aka KO. She is, oh my gosh, she is like, I don't know how to describe her. She's a wife, a mom of 3. I accidentally wrote mom of 2 on my picture. And she has a full-time job, and she's a fitness instructor. I've taken her classes before, and they kill me, like I'm dead after. And she also is killing it in her Beachbody business. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us tonight. Kristen's a rock star, and she's going to talk to us about something that we all struggle with, is time management. Because when we think we have it busy, this girl somehow manages her time doing what she does and kills it. So welcome.
Oh my gosh, I'm just going to come over and hang out with you all the time because you just lift me up and make me feel so good. So how long do we have, Melanie? Are your team calls a full hour, or are you 30 minutes or?
So it really depends. You're our guest speaker, so it could be a half hour. I have some bullet points that I want to talk about afterwards. Totally separate from this, but if we go past that half hour, it's totally okay.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes when I get real excited about things, I just kind of go off. And so I want to, first of all, thank you so much. When Melanie asked me, it's such an honor, because I'm still a baby at this business. I think many of us are still so new. I mean, I'm only, gosh, I don't even know, 15 months into this thing. So to be kind of viewed by a friend and a peer coach as somebody who has some value to add to this team, to your team, is really something that I don't take for granted. I really appreciate that. So, I'm here to talk a little bit. Melanie asked me to talk a little bit about how I manage my time management in the context of having all those roles that she mentioned. So, as she mentioned, I'm a wife, and I have a mom. I'm a mom of 3. My kids are small. They're 6, 4, and 18 months old. I do have a pretty demanding full-time job as a child welfare professional in North Carolina, averaging maybe about 50 to 60 hours a week. Probably not pulling as many hours as Craig does with all of his work, but I'm kind of up there. But that work really never ends. And that's, kind of, those of you who came onto the call, I was talking with Christy a little bit about the work that I do. So there's lots of times, even after hours, where I'm fielding phone calls, or I'm needing to respond to emails, or I'm carrying a heavy emotional kind of work with me in child welfare. And I do group fitness instruction. I've been doing that for about 9 years, and I teach about 4 times a week at 2 different gyms in the area, and that really fills my cup too. So that's been a wonderful addition to my life. And so I think the fact that I've been able to take on Beachbody Coaching, I've been able to reach my diamond status. I'm an all-star 10 right now for Success Club, meaning that I've hit all Success Club 10 or more for 12 consecutive months. And that was really an emotional time when I hit that, because as I'm going to talk about, there are times in this business where you're just questioning yourself, and you're questioning your ability, you're questioning your skills, you're questioning your worth and your value, and whether or not this is something you can do and sustain and keep going. So when you hit those milestones and those benchmarks, it really becomes something pretty amazing. But I also need to say that, as I mentioned, I don't have any of this figured out, really. I practice a lot, and I'm going to talk a little bit about practicing, because the more we do something and the more we get comfortable, the better we're going to get at it, and then the easier things seem to get. But I wanted to also just set the tone that I don't consider it about time management. I really consider this work and what I'm going to share about self-management, because to me, there's a difference. We can't manage time. Time is what it is. We all have the same amount of time in a given day. And so time's not going to really manage. What I manage is myself within that time. And that's a little bit of a different kind of mindset about this, but it helps me because it keeps me grounded in 3 things that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of how I do this. Because quite honestly, it's not about, it's a little bit about how I schedule my day, but it's more about the other foundational things that I think that I carry into the day and into the work that keeps me going, and it keeps me focused on needing to get the core things done that I need to get done. So when I think about self-management, I'm thinking about, and this is nothing you haven't heard already, so a lot of this is repetitive. Number 1, it's my reason for wanting to do the work. So you hear us talk in Beachbody Coaching about being really centered on your why. And I cannot I can't speak highly enough about the importance of being really clear with your why. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So that kind of gets me into, and I call it my base camp, because that's where I always come back to, is my why. And then it's the attitude that I have and how I approach the work, and that's your mindset. So I know you've all heard about needing to have a certain mindset to do the work. And then it's about the competencies. So it's about the tools and the resources and the trainings and how good I feel about my ability to do the work, how I schedule, what I use to do the different things I use to do the work. So I split it up in those 3 things, and I want to touch on all 3 tonight a little bit for you, if that sounds okay. Just real quick though about how I got started, because I think that's also important to kind of level set. You know, despite being a group fitness instructor, you would think that maybe I felt like this was a natural fit for me. But like most coaches, I said no about 1,000,000 times to my upline, Stacy. I didn't think I would be good at it. I didn't have the confidence that this was something I could do. I didn't think I was creative enough. I didn't want to be salesy. I was pregnant with my third baby, and my other 2 pregnancies were really hard for the first 5 months. So I knew that when she asked me, I was like 5 weeks pregnant, and I knew what was coming in my life for the next 10 months of my life. And I was like, there's no way I can do yet another thing with all that I have going on. And so kind of where I came into this was that I at least agreed to try Shakeology, and I fell in love with the stuff. Like, Stacy made me a shake. She brought it to me at the gym. She took my class. She brought me a shake.
Oh, cool.
And I drank it, and I was like, I got to get this stuff. I mean, it was just instant. And being in the fitness industry for about 25 years, I've drank every protein shake, everything under the sun, all the supplements. And so when I tasted Shakeology, I was hooked. So I kind of came into this as a discount coach. I was a discount coach for an entire year before I decided to actually do anything with the business. And even after I had my baby, Jack, my third baby, Stacy was still asking me, and I still said no, but I at least agreed to do a challenge group. So that's when I was introduced to the 21-day fix. I did 2 rounds of the 21-day fix, and in about 6 months, I lost all of my baby weight, which was pretty good because my other 2 pregnancies took me longer. So I was like, wow, Shakeology plus 21-day fix was really a game changer for me. But that wasn't still enough for me to do more. And it wasn't until she actually asked me on, I remember it was Cinco de Mayo. I was getting ready to teach an insanity class, and she sent me a text, and she says, you know, Kristen, I just want you to know that if you were to sell 3 challenge packs to people in a given month, that your Shakeology will be covered. And if you were to do X, Y, and Z, you could probably net about $200 to $300 a week. And so while that might not sound like extraordinary amounts of money, at the time, knowing that I had about getting ready to have 3 kids and full-time childcare, which for us was about $38,000 a year, was huge. We already have our share of debt. We already had, I had a little bit of my why already, like, we need to get out of some financial crisis, but it was about to get a little bit deeper because I had yet another baby getting ready to go into full-time childcare. And despite the fact that I have a really good job, and my husband does too, poor choices in our 20s kind of have me now in my mid-40s kind of thinking, damn, I've got to make sure I teach my kids a little bit better fiscal management as I raise them. So it wasn't until all of that, and I say all of that for a reason, because it's not going to be, this is not about our topic, but it's just a good reminder for me that it took her probably 10, 12 asks before I actually said yes. And so it's not always going to happen right away for us. And so I know on my team, some of my coaches get really frustrated because they say, Kristen, I've asked twice, and they're just saying no. And it's like, I'm like, ask again, or, keep going, because eventually people will begin to say yes to you. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about how I do plan and how I work my business, how I fit all of this. And I'm going to tell you, I do this in increments of time throughout my day. I fit it in between my as I call it, my wife cracks and my mommy cracks and my work cracks and my group fitness cracks to do all of this work. And so I'm going to talk practicalities in a little bit, but I wanted to talk a little bit about my foundation of my why. And I don't know if Melanie and Craig have I'm sure they have, but it's always good to kind of revisit, really getting crystal clear on your why for doing this. And it relates to time management and self-management in so many ways, because when your why is clear and you are so grounded to an emotional connection for why you're doing this work, then the time will find itself. Like, I know I say this, and you're probably like, Kristen, you're crazy, but you will make the time to fit this in your schedule when your why is so strong. When you know you've got the right why and you're so emotionally connected to the point of tears about it, then you're there. If it's more surface level, and I think a lot of us, we come into our whys at a surface level, where it might be something more of a goal, you know, and not really a deep-seated why. So I know when I first started thinking about coaching, my why was, well, I want to get out of debt. And that's a goal. Like, that's not my why. So what I've learned to do, and you may have heard this, was to think about what you think your why is, and then to be going at least 5 levels deeper from that. So like 5 degrees of why. And I can share kind of how I do this, and maybe separate from this call, I can share some information with Melanie to share back with you. But I would encourage you to think about what your why statement is today, and then to ask yourself, well, then why, you know, whatever answer that is. So maybe it is to get out of debt. To ask yourself, well, why is that important to me? Get the answer on that. Then ask yourself again, well, why is that important to me? And do that 5 times to the point where you can't really answer the question anymore, but also to the point where you have such a deep-seated emotional connection to that why statement, because that's what's going to keep you grounded in the work, and that's going to keep you moving. And then write it down and make it visible. You know, it's so when you think about your why, and you kind of, you know, it's probably going to be connected to some past or present pain point in your life. And you might want to be moving to a future state. So I know a lot of people think that their why might be some future state, some real positive, and we do vision boards, and we do all kinds of great touchy-feely kinds of things. But for me, I have found that my why needs to connect to something that pisses me off, excuse my language, or makes me angry, that or a condition that I want to change, so that I can work towards that future state. Because right now I can't relate to, you know, I can't relate to owning a boat or being completely debt free. I can't relate to a lot of these things that I say that I want, but I can relate to the fact that we're stressed to the max. I can relate to the fact that I have to work and I can't be with my kids all the time. I can relate to the fact that, you know, things are stressful when you're at the end of the month and you don't know how you're going to pay for something, and you still have $600 childcare bill to pay. Like, I can relate to that, and that's what keeps me connected to that future state. So that becomes something that drives us. So I would really encourage you, if you haven't gone to the point where you get real emotional about it, maybe practice a little bit and think about what those things are. So for me, it's, you know, it's not even about being able to do more with my kids. It's about what I know kids need in the context of a thriving family, because of the work that I do, that keeps me really grounded to the work. So it keeps me pushing through. So that's my first thing. I mean, it sounds really kind of philosophical and way up here and theoretical and stuff, but I think if you can go through that exercise, it really is just asking yourself, you know, we say 5, it might take 10 times to get deeper with it, to the point where it brings you to tears, you know, and then you know you're there. And then the second thing is not just kind of why I'm doing this and my reason, but it's that mindset. So again, nothing that you haven't heard, and I'm going to reiterate this because it's so critical to how I manage my time with a busy schedule, because the why and the mindset really are what it's all about. It's not about how I schedule my day. Scheduling my day is made possible because I have the right why and because I have the right mindset doing the work. So it's really important that we have a growth mindset. So that's why personal development is so important. I am guilty of the fact that I came into this business and I kind of shoved it off. I didn't think it was important. You know, I have a good education. I have a good job where I'm constantly involved in professional development. I'm constantly thinking about how to better myself professionally, because I need to do that for work purposes. So I came into this thinking, I'm good. You know, I read journals and I read textbooks and I read all this stuff to help me do my job better professionally. I go to conferences, I do X, Y, and Z. But that's for other people. That wasn't for me. So when I really got to the point of understanding that I need to be centered on my growth mindset, for me, like, it was a game changer. And now it's like the most fun part of the job, in my opinion. It's like I can't get enough of personal development. So, and what I tell my team, and what I also tell people that I teach group fitness, and this might sound hard, but I've gotten to a point where I say it because I really mean it. You either want this or you don't. You're either in it or you're not, because when you're stuck in between, you're going to get in between results. And when you're stuck in between, you're going to find reasons why you can't do it, or why you shouldn't do it, or why you can't do it. So what I try to convey, and I do it nicely, I really do, it's like, you know, either make the commitment or don't make the excuse that you don't have time. Don't make the excuse that you have X, Y, and Z going on. Just say, it's not a priority for me right now. That's honest. What's not honest are all the excuses that we tell ourselves why we can't do something. So when you get real brutally honest with yourself about why you're doing this or why you can't do this in the moment, I think things just kind of take form and things can happen in a little bit more authentic way. So, I read something like, no one can make you show up, no one can make you fail, no one can make you reach your goals. So it's all about you, and it's about that mindset that you carry. And most people quit because they really don't have something bigger than themselves to connect to, and that gets back to our why. Because it's really easy when time gets hard, and trust me, I don't start really working the hard part of my business until this time at night. Every single night I put my kids down, and I have small kids, so what that means, from 8:30 to 9:30 they're up about 50 million times saying, Mommy, I'm thirsty, Mommy, I got to go to the bathroom, Mommy, I'm scared, Mommy this, Mommy, lay with me, Mommy, X, Y, and Z, whatever it might be. So it's really not until 9:30 at night that I can actually sit down. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do what I got to do. So sleep right now is not necessarily my best friend, but I've got the right mindset because I'm connected to a deep enough why to make this something that's important for me, because I'm in it. I'm not kind of middle ground. I'm in it, and I'm all in it. So that kind of just clears up for me, and it makes way for some of this work to be able to happen. I'm connected to something that's so much bigger than myself. So I say all that again. I just encourage you to be thinking and just be honest with yourself. I mean, I don't know when you come into this business what's keeping you back, and I'd love to have a conversation tonight about maybe what some of those barriers are for you, because I can promise you I probably have felt them too, and I can talk a little bit about how I approach that. But once you get strong with that why, and once you think about the mindset and you start being honest with yourself, it's amazing what opens up for you. But I do want to spend a little time talking about how I actually plan my day. It's more the practical stuff, and how I've been able to set up a very, very full day, but still be able to squeeze in when I need to squeeze in, and the tools that I use to do it. So for the first 6 months or so of Beachbody Coaching, I also did not subscribe to being a product of the product. I drank my Shakeology, but I didn't do the workouts. I didn't pick a program. And even though I teach Insanity, which is one of our programs, Insanity Live, I had never done a program from start to finish. Part of my mentality was, I'm a hardcore gym girl. I need to go to the gym. I'm not motivated. I can't work out in my living room. I just can't do it. I mean, I had every excuse in the book. And when I hear them now, and I'm like, stop saying that, because you do. And I'm like, Kristen, wait a minute, because you were there. I'm going to wake up my kids. They're sleeping in the next room. I have a really small house. And so like 10 steps, you get to my son Jack's room. And I've got 2 dogs. They're just going to get in my way, and I see Melanie's videos, and, she's got her 2 kids running around and the dogs. And, I'm like, no, see, that's just, she's making it happen. So it wasn't until I actually made the commitment that I've got to be a product of the product. And that changed my business too. That's a whole other thing. When I started committing to a full-time program and doing it from start to finish and documenting it on social media, my business blew up. But all that to say, I start my morning about 4:30. I get up. I might press snooze a few times. I'm not going to lie. But I get my workout in, and I'm done by about 5:15 in the morning. Because that's the beauty of our workouts, right? They're you're 30 minutes, 40 minutes max, and you're done. That was a shift for me because I am not that early morning person. I've always been a night person, but I also had to get brutally honest with myself. I would make every excuse in the book to say, I'm not going to do it now. I'll just do it later, and later never happened. So I had to make a change. It's the same thing we tell our challengers. If you want something different, you got to do something different. So my morning starts early. I get my workout in, and then I compose my post for the morning when I'm always, and I'll talk about posting a little bit later, but I'm always documenting my workout for the most part. I try to be really consistent every morning after my workout to post that. So how I fit in the vital behaviors, after I do my workout, I'm posting probably around 7 o'clock, 7:30, because no one's up really, or they don't want to read stuff at 5:30 in the morning, so I wait. I get ready, I get my kids ready, drop them off. I have to drop them off in 3 separate places every morning, so that's a whole nother level of stress. But I'm at work by about 7:30, 8 o'clock every morning to start my day. And my day's pretty busy, so I don't have a whole lot of time to do a lot during the day. So here's how I do it. I go through I use the business activity tracker. So I hope you're all using a tracker of some sort. And if you're not, start using a tracker. It keeps you on task. It tells you exactly what you need to be doing. It keeps you focused. Number one, use a tracker. I don't care what tracker it is. If you create your own tracker or you use one that already exists, but definitely use one. And so what I choose to do throughout my workday, I have a lot of meetings. I'm in back-to-back-to-back meetings probably most of my days. But in between those meetings, I've got like 5 minutes of downtime where we're waiting for the next meeting to happen. I use my 5 minutes wisely. Every time I have a crack like that, I'm doing something on that tracker that is easy. So I might add my 3 friends of the day. That doesn't take really any mental capacity. The thing I'm checking is to make sure we don't have any mutual friends, because I don't want to friend Melanie's friends or Craig's friends because they're building their network. I don't want to necessarily build my network with the same people. That defeats the purpose. So I try to just make sure that I don't share mutual friends with people. But then I'm doing add friend, add friend, add friend, making sure that I can connect with them in some way. So I might do that in a 5-minute period of time. So my connecting and adding new friends is done. In another 5-minute period of time, or maybe during my lunch hour, and it's rare that I get a full lunch hour, but if I do get lunch, or if I make time to take lunch, I'm also making a decision. It's back to mindset, where I'm not going out to lunch with colleagues. I'm choosing to eat at my desk, and I'm working Beachbody a little bit. And so during my lunch hour, I might be getting in some checking my follow-up messages or connecting with people, checking into my challenge groups at that point. Again, not a ton of mental capacity there. It's more of a check-in, and it's a little bit easier to do. I might be checking my Coach Online office. Again, some of those really easy things that I can squeeze in, because my ultimate goal every single day is to be able at 9:30 at night to sit down with 2 things that I got to do. And the 2 things I got to do are to invite and to build relationships. And that is all I do at night. And I might plan, the other thing I might do at night is plan who I'm going to invite the next day. So I will be going through my contact lists and, to get a plan in place for who I want to focus on inviting the next day. Because I know for me, where I get a little bit caught up sometimes is I'll sit in front of my friends list, I'll sit in front of my contact list, and I'll make the decision for them. They're not going to say yes, or this person might say yes. And so I start this mental game with myself, and that's not a good place to be in. So if I have found that if the night before I am making a commitment and I'm writing it down, I'm saying these are the 3 or 5 people I'm going to invite to a challenge group or to coaching tomorrow, and I write it down, then I know that I've got my plan. I've got my plan in place, and I'm just going to stick to that plan when I sit down. It keeps me really, really, really focused. And the other thing that I would say that I had to learn the hard way with time management, or self-management as I like to call it, is that I got really overwhelmed pretty quickly in this business with all of the training and all of the team page resources and everything that's posting and coming at us on a given day. Because between Heart and Hustle, if you're in that page, and Team Fit and Free, and then if, with Craig and Melanie likely having your own team page and additional information, probably a lot of it's duplicative, probably some new, but it's information overload. You get your national wake up call, you got everything. And I know for me, it was so overwhelming that it paralyzed me to do anything. So one of the things that I share with my new coaches and my team is I actually give them permission to say, don't worry about that stuff. Like, that stuff is going to come. If you are at least focusing on your 4 vital behaviors every day, and that's at 15 months in, that's really all I'm doing. Like, I only use my personal page. I know I need to develop a like page. I probably need to get on another social media platform. But in my hour and a half that I really dedicate to my business every night, I don't want to spend it researching how to do a like page. I want to get my inviting done. I want to get my relationship building done. And I will focus that time on the weekends if I've got the capacity to do that. And I've had to get okay with that plan and not listen to all the noise about what I should be doing and why I haven't done this or what's good for me. And because what's at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to really grow our business is if we're focused on those 4 vital behaviors. The other stuff's going to come. So I don't know if you're in that place where you feel this sense of overwhelm and it gets you to a point where you don't even know where to start, where to begin. And if you're there, then I really encourage you to talk with Melanie and Craig both about how you can reprioritize and get back to the basics. Because I find that when I get off those basics, I'm not working my business. I'm sitting and I'm scrolling Facebook, or I'm sitting at my desk and I feel lost a little bit. So I try to kind of just drown out the noise, and I focus only on the activities really in that business activity tracker. The other things that I found that are helpful from a time management perspective is that if I friend request somebody and that day they accept the friend request, the minute I see it or the next minute I have some time, I immediately am messaging them and I'm thanking them for accepting my friend request. So I don't know if you're doing that already, and if you're not, I really encourage you to do that. It's a great way to create a new relationship. So sometimes, I know initially when I would get a friend request accepted, I would just be like, okay, cool. And I wouldn't do anything with it. And then I found myself like, okay, I don't really know who's up in my queue or who I can invite, because I'm not a cold inviter. I don't cold invite. I build relationships first, and I found myself kind of at a loss at some points in my business. So when I get friend requests accepted, I immediately just jump on it and I get it done. And I send it's quick. Hey, Melanie, thank you so much for accepting my friend request. I saw we had a couple friends in common, and that means we probably have some things in common too. Thanks again. Have a great day. That's it. 10 out of 10 times they're responding back to me saying, oh, that's, no problem. Great. And it's small talk, and it might not result in an invite. It might not result in anything, but it's a new connection and it's a new relationship, so that over time now I can begin to form that in a little bit of a different way. The other things that I do, these are just some common questions that I get, is how do I post? How do I plan my posts? Do I plan them? Do I use a calendar? That kind of thing. I do not right now use a content calendar for posting. There are a lot of coaches that have a social media strategy. That's another one of those things where I kind of think I know I need to get there, but I haven't made the decision to invest my time there yet. Partly because I am somebody, I feel a little bit fortunate in that I love to write. You probably can, if you follow me, sometimes my posts are way too long, and I probably need to start a blog. But I really like to be authentic in the moment, and I find that I'm at my best self when I see something, or I'm triggered with a memory, or I listen to some personal development, and I'll make a note of it. And then when I have one of those 10-minute chunks of time, I have a secret group for myself where I do all my posts, and I craft them so that I can then just use them as I need to use them. So that's another thing. I know Melanie and Craig, I don't know if you have that. I know Stacy's taught me that. And I found that to be a real game changer in terms of time, because if I only have 5 minutes, I created my own secret group. I'm the only one in it. And I'll start drafting a post, and then I can at least save it, and I know I can go back to it. I used to do it in my notes feature, but then I was like, oh, why don't I just do this on Facebook in a private group? If I see something from somebody else, or if I'm just reminded about something, I can use that, and then I can craft a post from that. So I do encourage, though, and I don't do it, but I do see the value if you are somebody who really struggles with not knowing what to post and when to post. There's so many resources out there for recommendations of posting content in a given day. And, you know, I can share some, you know, we can share some for you if you don't know what that looks like. But, and I have started doing just some theme stuff. So every Monday, I'll do a Monday move of the day. I try to draw from where I think I can give value to other people from a fitness perspective, just having that group fitness background. So I'll do a quick little Monday move of the day, and I can rest assured that I've got 2 posts already planned for that day. My post will always be in the morning about my workout. Without fail, you can guarantee you're going to see it. You might not see it on a Wednesday morning because I have something else at 4:30 in the morning that I do, but but the other days of the week, including Saturday and Sunday, I'm always posting something about my workout. So then Mondays, I have an extra post for, you know, my Monday move of the day. For you, it might be Monday motivation. Maybe there's a motivational quote or something thematic that you can pull, that you can rest assured you can have a post set from your 3 to 5 that are recommended for us. Tuesdays, I always do like a Tasty Tuesday type thing. A lot of people do Transformation Tuesdays, so that's always a good one. Wednesdays can be, you know, some people do like a Wednesday workout of the day. There's other thematic things. Thursday usually tends to be about Beachbody business recognition and, you know, growth in the business and all that kind of stuff. And then Fridays and Saturdays, I tend to just post more lifestyle. I don't get heavy posts because there's not a lot of traffic for my market on Friday nights and Saturdays. So I think things are a little bit lighter for me. So, you know, it might benefit you on, you know, maybe every night, if you struggle with what to post and when, is to just give some thought about your day, or reflect a little bit on your day that day, and is there anything in there that you can use for content to post? Because, you know, I found that if I just give a little bit of planning time to it, it'll kind of fall into place. And then my personal development, the other kind of time management thing that I try to do is I have to listen to audiobooks because I don't make the time to read, because really it's just, I fall asleep. I'm so tired by the time I go climb into bed, and the last thing I'm doing is reading. So I'm in the car quite a bit in between meetings and on to and from work. So that's when I'm getting my personal development in. But there's also an Audible, there's a clip feature where you can save the clip. So if you're listening to something and you're like, that's awesome, you can do a quick save clip, you know, maybe rewind it and save it. And then I go back to that and I'll write it out, because that's probably going to fuel a post that day or maybe that week about something that's really kind of why it resonated with me. So it's just some small things that I've learned to try to do to get as much done in my little cracks of time, so that when I sit down at night, I can focus on inviting and I can focus on relationship building. And really what I mean by that is that those are your hey girl, hey guy or hey girl connects, checking in and that kind of stuff. That's going to be the stuff that kind of moves you forward. But I'm tired. Like, there are more nights than not, when I'm like this, and I'm just wanting to go to sleep. And that's where that why and that mindset come into play, because it would be really easy for me to say every night, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll just double invite tomorrow. And it never happens. It just never happens. For me, maybe it would be for you, but it doesn't happen for me. So, so the minute I find myself saying, I need to go to bed, I invite one more person, just one more person. Because at the end of the night, if I've invited at least one person, I've at least done something to move my business forward. And that might be a no, but at least I've done something to move my business forward, and I can go to bed thinking, okay, I did something. The other tools I use, I have been kind of playing around with Teamzy. I don't know if you know about Teamzy, if you've heard of it. It's a software developed by Beachbody coaches where you kind of import all of your Facebook contacts, and it runs through a queue system where it's going to kind of, you prospect your people in terms of you rank them about, who do you think is going to be most likely to be a good relationship person for you, or who do you absolutely need to stay away from. It allows you to rank, prioritize your people. And then the system works for you in that it's going to give you your prospects, who you've identified as prospects. You put in your customers, you put in your coaches, and then it has a section for your follow-ups. So you know, every day I'm going into Team Z and it gives me my top 5 people who I should be prospecting. And those are the people who I need to be connecting and building relationships with or inviting. And the good thing about Team Z, what it does is it kind of takes the guesswork out. And so if you use the system the way that it's designed, and you don't let yourself make the decision for the person, and this happened to me last night. Somebody came up in my queue and I'm like, I don't have anything to say to them, so I'm just going to skip them. And I'm like, no, don't skip them, because I'm going to keep skipping that person, and maybe that person might be a yes. So I actually went, you know, I went to their Facebook page, and I was just like, this is a stretch, but I'm going to do it. And I connected. I say, hey, you know, it's just going through my Facebook friends list. I noticed we haven't connected in a long time, and I see that you have, you know, 2 kids, and I just hope you're well. Just wanted to say, hey, that's it. Like, I don't force it. I don't try to make it anything more than it is. And that serves as a entry point for relationship. And that might pay me dividends down the road in 6 months, or it might not, but at least I got more comfortable doing something that I was uncomfortable with. And that's what so much of this is, you guys. It's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and practicing, because once you practice and you do it more and more, you know, then you get a little excited and you can do it, and then you have a little bit more energy and you can do a little bit more, and the momentum kind of grows. So in addition to Team Z, most of my stuff though is done notebook. I've got a notebook, and what I do is I organize by day. So every day I'm putting on and I have my business activity tracker, but I also am like this pen and paper person, where I want to list out my to-dos, who I really want to follow up with, who I want to invite the next day. And I do a little bit of manual tracking of that too, that keeps me on point, because you know, if I'm not back in Team Z, I can flip through my pages and I can quickly scroll and say, that's a trigger, I forgot to follow up with this person, and it kind of helps me do that work as well. So I kind of morphed into other ways, and not necessarily time management here, but the other feature I use time management wise, voice memos on Facebook are awesome. So I don't know if you know that feature, but there's a little microphone when you go to send somebody a Facebook message. Instead of typing, you look, there's a little icon microphone, and you just hold it down. Melanie and I and some of the other diamond coaches use it quite often. But they're great time savers. And what's beautiful about them is that people can hear you, and they can hear your authenticity, and they can hear how much you care, that you don't always get. You know, so on my way home from work when I'm driving, sometimes if I know I need to check in with my challengers, I'm not checking in by text. I'm checking in by voice. So I just do a quick voice memo. It's a 1-minute clip. You know, hey, Christy, I didn't see that you checked in the group today. You're on my mind. You're in my heart. Tell me what's going on, girl, because I want to hear what's going on. And she's likely going to respond back to me. And I can do that in about 20 seconds. Move on to the next person. And next thing you know, within a 20-minute drive, I've got all my connects with my customers, my challengers done. So that when I sit down at 9:30 at night and I'm exhausted as heck, I can focus on inviting and relationship building. That's my ultimate goal every single day. Friday and Saturday as well. I work Friday and Saturday as well, because my why's big enough and my mindset's strong enough that right now I'm putting in time, and that's at night too. I don't do it during time with my kids. I protect that time. It's important to me. I try to unplug. That's another time management strategy. And I don't know, it's really easy to carry this thing with you every single place you go and always be on it. And I have found that when that happens to me, I'm not really connected to anybody. I'm scattered. I'm here and I'm there, and I'm here and I'm there, and I'm not doing anyone really any favors. So the minute when I get home from work, I, for the most part, put my phone down. And I'm focused on my kids and my husband and my family time, because it's just more, short amount of time. But that gives me, again, more focus, that when I do sit down, I know exactly what I need to do, that I'm not all over the place. Well, where was I there? And I did a little bit there, and now I don't know, I didn't track that, so I got to figure out where I was, and then that's a time suck, So I have found that when I unplug and I have my kind of business hours of when I'm going to do my work, that is actually another great time management strategy for me too. I've been talking a lot, so I should pause and breathe and see if there's any questions for me.
I have some.
Yeah.
So I was glad to hear that you started when you were pregnant, because I'm pregnant and I'm exhausted and I can't breathe going up one flight of stairs. So what workouts were you doing? What program did you start and finish? Because I'll start too and I just can't finish. Well, I can, but I'm not.
Yeah. So I didn't start coaching until after Jack was born. I was a discount coach only. So I was only, doing Shakeology, and I wasn't even doing the workouts. But the other thing is, as a group fitness instructor, I'm probably not the best reference for you, because I taught classes up till the day before my kids were born. So I was able to kind of push through that. But here's what I would tell you. Number one, if I don't know if it's public that you're pregnant, Christy,
Yeah.
share that. Use that to your advantage in this business. Post the hell out of that. And
I'm afraid people will get mad.
No. Oh, no. Clear your mind of that. Clear your mind of that. Use it, because people are going to relate to you. And the people that are going to get mad, screw them, honestly. I mean, I say that nonchalantly, but I've just gotten to this point where be you, and people want to connect with that, because that's real life. Like, wow, you're pregnant and you're still showing up. You might not be able to do a whole lot. Maybe you need to walk in place, and maybe that's going to exhaust you, but talk about that, but at least you're still showing up. Or talk about the days when you feel so tired and your feet are like this big and you can hardly breathe and you go in the bathroom every 5 seconds. People want to connect with that, because that's real life, but you're still showing up. And I think that you will inspire so many people when you share that. Share it and be proud of that. And I wish I was pregnant with a fourth so I could do that. Seriously. I'm serious. Don't. I know it's easier said than done, because I've been there where I have cared about what people think. But if your why is strong enough, and you are so connected with your personal development, and you just start and be your authentic self, you're going to attract so many more authentic people in your life, and you're not going to care what those other people think as much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a quick question for you, Kristen. So when you're doing those 5-minute spans, do you check your messages, or when you message people and they write you back and you can't get back to them, when do you follow up with them? Like when you have another free moment, or at night?
Yeah, I have to do a little bit of both. It depends on the person. It depends on the message. But the other thing I've set up, Melanie, is I'm pretty clear with my people up front that if I can't get back to them right away, I will get back to them at that night. I try to set that expectation, because a lot of people might not know my schedule, especially if they're new people that I'm working with. They don't know necessarily that I'm not available. But, I might take 5 minutes to say, hey, got your message? I'm in a meeting. Once I put my kids down tonight, I'll be back in touch. And everybody, I tell you, when I do that, everyone's like, no rush, cool. And I found that that's taken me pretty far. So it might be a really easy question. I can answer it within a little small block of time. But if it's about, give me more information on 21-Day Fix, or, I want to learn more about your challenge group, I wait till I have a good amount of time. Even if it's a copy and paste from a prior message, I still want to make sure I take time to personalize that, and I don't want to rush through that. So that's something I might do more at night. Yeah.
Right.
But only after I'm done with my inviting. And that's another shift I've had to make, because I can spend hours following up with people and not doing anything to really grow my business in terms of getting out to new people. So I've had to eat that frog, and that's another great personal development recommendation from Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog. And it's getting out of the way the things that drain your energy the most, things you don't like to do, get them done first and clear your mind of that, so that you can move forward with some of the things that bring you more joy. Because you'll always put them off, and then you're too tired to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I take that message thing on a case-by-case basis, Melanie.
Sure. Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't get back to them that same day, and I'm being honest, like, hey, I'm so sorry. But I try not to let more than a day go by. It might not be that I don't get to them right at night. And if I don't get to them right at night, I'm at least acknowledging, saying, I know I promised you this, and they're usually seeing that message at like midnight, and I'm like, I know I promised you this information. I'm going to get it to you tomorrow, I promise, you know, and I just kind of fall on my sword with it. But people get it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
this one goes for both of you. Like, how often do you go back to the same person and start a conversation about their fitness and all that? I mean, if you've talked to them before about it, but you still know that they're not really engaging or doing anything. I have people in these free groups that just don't say a peep, and I reach out to them and they don't say a whole lot. So how many times would you go back to someone, do you think?
Do you want me to start, Melanie, or do you want to
start? Yeah.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, it depends. I have learned in my full-time career and in Beachbody, the best answer is, well, it depends, because everything's, you know, based on context. So if it's somebody who I have kind of, I don't want to say cold invite, because I don't really cold invite, but if I am presenting the opportunity to them and they haven't necessarily shown me any interest, and I'm just thinking that maybe, right, and I get crickets, I'll follow up with them. As if I have a challenge group coming up, I'll follow up with them, you know, maybe invite them, and then if it's crickets, I might follow up with them one more time before my challenge group, and then I let it go until the next month, personally, and that's for people who I'm reaching out to who have not really expressed much, who I think in my mind, they're telling me a little something by not answering me. They're not really there yet. So I don't want to push it too hard, because I don't want to make them run the other way. Now, if it's people who have come to me initially and they said, hey, Kristen, tell me more, and then it's crickets, then I approach that a little differently, because they've given me, and if I've done it well enough, and if I've asked the right questions in that conversation when they did express some interest, and then they just kind of fall off the face of the earth, then I bring that conversation back to them every time to say, you know, I'm just following back up. You reached out to me on this day, and you know, you were ready. My next group's filling up. I have a spot ready for you. Are you ready to do this? And it still might be crickets, and I'll let that time go, but I'll go back to them the next month. So, you know, I can't give you a hard and fast number. I think it's you know, it's at least a couple of times as I'm approaching a challenge group, and then it's definitely going to be again every month as a new challenge group forms until they tell me no. And the interesting thing is that I haven't really had anybody, of the people who are crickets, I haven't really had them come back and say, leave me alone. In fact, just the opposite. I've just now signed, not coach, but challenge group, challenge pack, people who I were talking in my first month of coaching. It took that long for them to say yes. So that's where your tracking comes in. So, you know, you've got your business activity tracker, but it's going to be real important whether you do it pen or paper, or you use something like TeamZ or Streak or whatever else is out there that people use. You want to make sure you're tracking who you're talking to and where that conversation lands and ends, because you're going to want to go back to revisit that at least every month as you form new challenge groups to invite them. You know, and I leave it really kind of like cool, you know, like I don't ever want to come, none of us want to come across salesy. It's probably the biggest fear we have why we don't invite. So I just keep that in the back of my mind. Say, hey, you know, hey, Christy, I'm just following back up. I'm starting my new challenge group, you know, this date, and, you know, would you be interested in learning more information? You know, I'd probably put a little more in there, but I keep it short and sweet and non-salesy. I used to vomit when I first started all over them with lots of info.
We all did, yeah.
No. I mean, I literally might have 2 sentences in my invites at this point. 3, maybe. Simple.
So Kristen, on another note, since I have you, in your opinion, why is it important to invite, or why is it important to add new friends to your network?
Well, because this is a people business, right? So this business is all about relationships. And if you're not inviting new people, there will come a point in time in your business when you will have no more people. And we need the people. So we need to invite the people. Truly, you know, I mean, if you think about your Facebook friends list, however long it might be, you know, and you go through and you're inviting every day, you know, the way that we're encouraged to, there will come a point in time fairly soon in your business where that warm market is going to completely dry up for you and you're not going to have anyone else to invite. And so that's why it's really important to continuously invite new people into your network, by adding, if it's Facebook, add at least 3 people a day. It's the easiest thing you can do. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't take a lot of thinking about it. I mean, the biggest thing you need to think about is, does this person kind of look like someone you can relate to? And am I mutual friends with my upline or another coach on my team? Because if they are, I'm going to tell you, try not to invite them, because what we don't want is to saturate the friends list. I mean, and I speak to this from experience, because my upline Stacy and her upline Betsy, we all share over 100 friends. And so if you think about, if we're posting 3 to 5 times a day, there are 100 people mutually across us that are seeing the same feel of information. Right. And we just try to really manage that well. So I would just be cautious of who you're friending. And if you're going and you're doing it and you see that it's a mutual friend of a fellow coach on your team or of Melanie or Craig's, I would stay away from it. Because chances are they probably already have had the invite and the conversation with that person, and we never want to step on another coach's toes if they've already been engaged in a conversation with a potential customer. So
how do you feel about, do you personally, I know some people don't, but inviting or friending like people of the opposite sex?
It depends. Right? For me, it depends who it is. So, yeah. I have invited lots of guys to challenge groups and to coaching. Most of them say no, but I actually just signed up a male coach, and I have a couple of male coaches that who I've known, who are group fitness instructors, and who I trust and stuff like that. I mean, so it really does just depend. It does. But I also had to get clear on who my market is, and that's a whole nother kind of thing about who's your audience. Right. And probably the most of my audience are going to be, women who are working moms who have children who, like me, are trying to do the best they can as a working parent. But with that, I also have my group fitness life, and I have some male connections there that I've used to invite. But that's about the extent of it. But it depends. It depends on your comfort level. It depends on, it really depends on your comfort level. Depends on if you're married, what your spouse's comfort level is too. There's lots of tension sometimes in marriages about that kind of stuff. So,
Because personally, I wouldn't reach out to somebody that is a male fitness instructor, because here I am, a stay-at-home mom, trying to get some guns on my arms, So you're right. You got to figure out who your niche is.
Right. Absolutely. You got to be, and you got to be comfortable enough that, and if it's somebody you knew way back when in high school and you were good friends, maybe that might work. Yeah. Maybe. In fact, I just invited a friend of mine from college who has shown interest. Like, he's been liking my stuff and he's been engaged in some stuff. And so I was like, you know what? He and I can't relate on anything in our life anymore, but we were good friends at one point in time. And so I was like, hey, Robbie, it's Christy, would you ever consider a challenge group? Because, I think you're cool. And he's like, I would, but I've had 3 back surgeries, but I do want Shakeology. Can you give me more information? So he's now a Shakeology customer. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for Kristen?
When you said you're doing like quick invites, like say you did 1 or 2 or 3 a night.
Yeah.
What are these invites for? I mean, do you always have challenge groups going, or what's going on?
Yeah. So I have, usually it's to a challenge group. I mean, I'll tell you honestly, I've got to do better at inviting to coaching. It's something I don't do as much as I probably should be doing. So I know when my challenge groups are happening. I have usually 2 a month going. I've started considering doing fewer than that, but at the same time, I haven't moved in that direction because I want something at the beginning and at the end of the month to invite to. And so it's been working for me. Sometimes I'll do my own kind of group. So I'm getting ready to do a hammer and chisel 60-day group, because hammer and chisel has been the program for me that has been just transformational. So I've got like 19 people in this group with me, which is amazing, because I'm talking about, like, I talk about it and I share about it. And and that's why, Christy, I say to you, even if it's not about, program from start to finish, just the more you can put yourself out there and share your journey, the more people are going to want to be a part of that life with you. So, yeah, it's to challenge groups. And so I've got I've got my calendar for my team about when things are happening, and I'm inviting against that. And so if I know that I'm not going to have, a challenge group happening until maybe September 5th, I'm starting 2 weeks before the start of a challenge group to do my inviting for that challenge group. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What else? Where are you guys ladies getting stuck? I know we're kind of over on time, but are you getting stuck somewhere?
I just went through the overwhelmed stage that you mentioned, and broke down on our last team call, because I just felt like it's also hormones.
Yeah.
But I got stuck there recently. Just 2 weeks ago, not even.
Okay.
So I'm working on getting out of that right now. And I posted today about some pregnancy stuff, and I got tons of answers and likes and everything. So, I know your point where be real and honest and everything. So
yeah,
it'll happen.
Yeah. And the people that are liking that stuff, pay attention to who's liking, even if they're just liking, if they're not commenting, and then send them a message. Say, thank you for liking that post. It took you, and I said, this is why I said, it took you 1 second to like a post, but I'm going to tell you the impact it had on me to see that you liked it and you support me. Thank you. End of story. You're done. Awesome. And you can do that for everyone who likes your stuff. And they're going to start to see, and they're going to be more inclined to support you in the future.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right.
Sorry, Mel.
No, you're good. I feel bad, keeping you on the call, and this is what our team calls are like. We just talk, and it's more of a conversation than anything.
I love it.
Really, Kristen, you're awesome. You're a rock star. You shared so many tips in this meeting. I'm blown away. You almost at one point had me teary-eyed.
Yeah.
About getting to your why. Why. That was really powerful. I'm going to share this on my team page, the recording. And if you guys want to see what Kristen's doing, I definitely recommend just, following her, if that. She posts her workouts, videos every morning, and she's really inspirational. And if you have questions for her, she's, I'm sure, open and willing to chat in between those 5 minutes of free time she has. But really, thank you so much, Kristen. I owe you one. And I know I have some more topics to talk about, but I don't want to keep you guys on the call because it's 10 o'clock at night. It's a weeknight. I'll try to make a video of the stuff that I want to talk about. But if there's nothing else, anything else you want to add, Kristen, or...
No, I thank you. And, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to message me. I could talk all night about it. I'm so in love with this business, and I want to share and I want to learn. And, you just do that in relationship with each other. So I encourage you to reach out if you have anything you need. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. And thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for having us.
And if you want, you could stay on the call. I could chat with you if you have questions for me.
Okay.
Feel free to drop off or stay on, Kristen, whenever you want.
I'm going to go do my little power hour.
Okay.
So I have some energy. And I still have wine.
Nice. I know I have my hot tea. I'm like, I need some wine.
All right. Take care.
Have a good one. All right. Bye, Kristen.
Take that from him.
I can't play.
Hi, girls. If you need to drop off, I totally understand.
Don't come back.
I'm fine.
Don't come back.
Hi, Leanne.
Hey there. About our call. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
you're
that's okay.
Spies being late, so that really hurt me to get on late.
You're a trooper for jumping on.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any questions for me about anything we talked about? I mean, I wanted to regroup since I feel like I was MIA for a little while since my parents were visiting in town. So I'm back. I'm ready to roll.
You sent something about a challenge tracker, the challenge app tracker. That's starting Monday. What if, like, I don't know if this will happen, but
Yeah.
what if you wanted people to
it's-
sign up and they don't have
Doing a challenge group on Facebook. We're running the challenge group on our phones.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have anyone that want to join the group on Monday, but it's good for you guys to join, even if you don't, just to see what it's about.
Yeah.
The only way you could join it is by getting an invite from the admin. So the admin's myself. I sent you an email. You should have gotten an email. There's directions in it on how to download the app if you have it. And you would be able to log into the app every day and see the posts and be able to comment. You could, what do you call it? You could record your journey. So you could add your starting weight, your before pictures. I'm not going to see that stuff. It's just for your knowledge. But you could track how many times you drank Shakeology. Did you do your workout? It's more of a progress tracker and a challenge group at the same time. It's pretty cool. So this will be more like a learning experience for you guys. And the only way you could create the post is if you're on your computer. You can't do it from your phone.
Okay. If we add somebody, we need to send you their email address.
Wait, what was that, Leah?
If we want to add somebody, we just send you their email address.
Yeah, send me the email address and I could just add them.
I should have somebody said he ordered the challenge pack last night. So I'm hoping he did it correctly.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you should be able to see it in your back office now.
Yeah, I'll text him and ask him.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, I was going to say something about that. Oh, yeah. So even if he doesn't get the challenge pack on time, he will be able to do Beachbody on demand right away.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh my God.
And I know Jasmine joined the push group. I don't know if you guys want to join that with my upline Stacy running the push group. What was that?
Sorry.
Hey, shh.
Sorry. What was that? Yeah.
I do.
Okay, so I'll add you. And it's all about inviting 10 people a day to the coaching opportunity.
Wow.
This is how you're going to build your business. So, but if for some reason you find it's either too overwhelming or too much, or you can't do it, or you can't check in, Stacy's just going to get rid of the people that aren't participating. So I say give it a shot, give it a go. You have nothing to lose, you know?
Did she
And
post that on her team page?
yeah, if you want, I think she did post it on her team page.
I'll take a look.
I could tag you if you want.
Okay.
And finally, the last thing is, oh, today was the sample, the sneak peek of the 3-week yoga retreat. Oh, definitely start promoting. I mean, it's up to you if you want the Beachbody Health Bet
Yeah.
for September. So whoever does a workout, whether they're old customers or customers that are buying challenge packs this month, whoever starts, you know, using, I could create another challenge group in the tracker for September. Dan's looking at me like, huh? If you log your workouts, at least 5 workouts a week, and drink Shakeology 3 days a week, you will get part of the $1 to $3 million jackpot or like bowl. So you'll get paid.
I wasn't looking at you like I know about it. I'm just, my eyes were rolling back in my head.
Oh, sorry.
It's been a long day. But yeah, I already, that's why I was talking about my vacation. I said, I was telling my friend Chrissy, well,